probably heard about this yesterday afternoon out of Delaware County. 3 former police officers who killed 8-year-old Fanta Bility after that, football game. They pled guilty.
It's impossible to describe the words since her mother and her siblings witnessed this tragic incident. They will have to live with that trauma imprinted in their memories for the rest of their life.
So each of the charges against the officers could carry a 2-year prison sentence, and the judge will make the decision at a sentencing hearing that's going to be on January 12th.
I said they pled guilty, but I didn't say what they pled guilty to. Shaka Johnson, attorney at law.
Good morning.
What was the final charge then?
Recklessly endangering another person.
Okay.
A misdemeanor of the 2nd degree.
It wasn't murder.
No, it wasn't involuntary manslaughter or any of the more weighty charges that they were initially facing. It's a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree, which I have to say, everybody's been saying, well, it's a 2-year max potentially, right? Potentially.
Right.
And for 10 counts, they're facing up to 20 years in prison. They're not. That's hyperbole. That's not the case.
That's what I thought too.
The reality of it is, if you got convicted of, or you pled guilty to 1 count of that particular offense, the guidelines call for probation. And if you got convicted of 3 of those counts, the guidelines call for probation.
Are you telling me they may never go to prison?
That's what I'm saying to you.
But the family would have to be told that, right? That's a possibility?
I would imagine.
Fanta's family.
Yes, of course.
Because they're okay with this.
With the plea.
Right, with the plea.
And leaving it in the hands of the jurist to determine. And I hope that it wasn't presented in the way in which it's been talked about in the last 24 hours, which is they could get up to 20 years.
I know, that's been said repeatedly.
Right, because while that is technically, and I mean in its most technical state, true, the reality of it, the practical nature of it is that particular offense, that misdemeanor of the 2nd degree, especially for law enforcement officers who have no prior record, who were in the act of, some would say, and I use this a little bit loosely based on the facts, protecting and serving.
Well, remind everybody what happened that night.
Sure. There were gunshots at a football game.
Right.
These officers, shot into a crowd of people.
At a car that they thought...
At a vehicle, and one of those bullets wind up killing 8-year-old Fanta Bility.
Bullets were ricocheting off this car.
That's correct.
And she got hit.
I think
from the ricochet or directly from them shooting?
Directly from them shooting.
Okay.
Part of the issue, though, that the Sharon Hill community at large has to deal with is that initially the occupants of that vehicle, which were 2 minority youths, were arrested and charged with murder.
That's right.
When it was thought that the bullet came from either of them, okay?
But it didn't.
But it didn't.
Nope.
And now when you look at where this case has landed, when you look at the 2 bookends, where it started and where its completion, we're talking about a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree for police officers when it was 2 minority youths thought to have created this havoc. Murder was the initial charge. It seems a faraway afoul, and I'm just, I've talked to some people. Oh, of course. Well, I'm talking about people in that community who have sort of made this known. I understand why the family would want this closure, though. It is very easy for all of us, to sort of, render our opinions on how things should go. But this family desires closure. Yeah. They desire to allow Fanta to rest and to move on to the extent they can with healing. And so I don't say these things light of heart. I understand, what the road they have ahead of them.
Right.
But from a judicial standpoint, like in our judicial system, this pleading to this misdemeanor and then whatever sentence they receive, you have to know everyone's watching, right? Other defendants who are charged, who are not police officers, are also watching.
Okay, why would the officers agree to this?
It accepts responsibility for reckless behavior, which I think by anyone's account, it was reckless. And it also is a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree that doesn't call for jail time.
You're darn right.
And if I don't plead guilty to this particular offense, I will have to go to trial on the more weighty offenses that
could send me to prison
if convicted, right? And so
It's a smart,
it
smart
just
thing to do.
it just makes more sense. And quite frankly, I think you can even still be, with the count of recklessly endangering another person, you could even still possess a firearm going forward.
Wow.
All right, Shaka.
So we'll find out exactly on January 12th.
January 12th.
On January 12th, we'll find out exactly what that sentence will be.
Okay.
Up to the judge.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I'm sure we'll have you back.
Love to see you.
Thank you, Shaka.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.